If you've stepped outside this morning, it's a little bit chillier. There's some dew out on the cars and on the grass this morning, and that's starting to feel like fall. And with fall comes football, and with football in the Detroit area comes Detroit Lions football. And joining us now to talk about the Lions is Matt Dery from the Locked On Lions podcast, as well as Fox 2 Detroit's Woody Woodriffe. Back again to talk about the Lions, previewing now the regular season. Guys, thanks for being with us today.
No problem, Tyler. Thanks for having us.
Hey, Tyler.
So, Woody, I see you got a Chargers jersey on. I'm guessing it's that LaDainian Tomlinson.
You know it, LaDainian Tomlinson, a little blast from the past in the powder blue. You got to love it. I'm all excited, ready to go. I know Matt is, but, when you talk about this team, I don't know how excited it is for the Lions. Are they ready to go? I mean, they face San Francisco coming up on Sunday at home at Ford Field, which will be fun, I think, because there'll be fans back in the building, and that's something that we haven't seen in a full year. And let's hope that the place is rocking, because this Lions team may need all the help that they can get when they take the field this year.
Yeah, certainly. This is a team that's coming back and really struggled last year. It's still a very young team. They've had a lot of turnover, both in the staffing personnel, but also in their player personnel, also particularly in leadership positions, most notably that being the quarterback position. And so there's a number of different thoughts on the Lions this year. Some see them as being a team that could be potentially a surprise team in the NFC North. Others think they are a playoff contender that could be a surprise even in the playoffs. And then there's others who are, I would believe, having a more realistic expectation that this is going to be a team that, much like last year, is going to be quite bad, but it's going to show some promise for the future going forward. So let's start with you, Woody. What are your thoughts on this year's Detroit Lions team? Where do you think they will end up in this 17-game regular season schedule?
Yeah, I don't think that they will do very well this year. I mean, obviously the talent level is not where it needs to be yet, but they are trying to add pieces and they are trying to build, and that's what I'm kind of giving them credit for right now. Obviously, the players have bought into Dan Campbell, they've bought into Brad Holmes, they've bought into all of that that the Detroit Lions are selling. So there, should be enthusiasm, and there is. But will that translate into wins? I think Matt will agree that, on this kind of thing, I don't see this team maybe going over 5 wins at the most. Maybe it could surprise, maybe it could disappoint, but I'm looking at 5 right now. I normally don't like to do that because, I don't like to, say, okay, they'll win this game, they'll lose that game. They have a chance in every game. Yes, that is true. But, realism does sneak in a little bit, and I don't know how they're going to finish. But this week may be difficult.
Yeah, Tyler, I'll echo Woody's sentiments. I don't see this football team winning a lot of games. I don't know who's saying they could make the playoffs. This is a rebuild, and that's okay. It is. This is year one. They came in and stripped down the roster as best they could. But, again, they had to kind of keep some guys, whether it was contractually or whatever, around that were part of the previous regime, which was an unmitigated disaster. But I like where they're going in terms of, just even the other day, they brought Kevin Baston back. KB was as popular a guy in that locker room as there was when he was the athletic trainer the first time around, but he got sick and tired of Patricia and Quinn's games and left on his own, and then they bring him back. That at least shows that Holmes and Campbell are trying to bring the best people in, regardless of whether they're from the past or they have no connection to the Lions. So that's a good thing. That's a good sign. The players are happy that their trainer's back. But again, Kevin Baston's not quarterbacking. Okay, so there's just too many questions on this roster. I'm with Woody. I would say 5 wins would be high for me. I think this is a 4-win football team. The schedule's brutal. They've got to play the NFC West. They're not going to beat any of those teams. They've got to play the AFC North. They might beat the Bengals, but the other 3 they're not beating. And then their own division, Aaron Rodgers is going for a Super Bowl. The Bears are improved. In Minnesota, the Lions never beat. So it's a tough schedule, throwing in there a lot of young players and a quarterback that is a step down from what they had before.
You see now, Matt, I would agree with you on a lot of that. But again, when you say that they're never going to win against the NFC West and that kind of thing, see, those are the blanket statements that bother me because
Woody.
how many times have we seen the Lions not supposed to win a game and then they come out and win that game? So
Woody, do you honestly think they're going to beat Seattle, the Niners, The Rams or the Cardinals?
You know what? I could see them beating the Rams. I really could. I really could.
Stafford throws like 4 picks.
I could see that. But yeah, Seattle and everybody else they're going to have trouble with. They're going to have trouble with the Niners this week. I mean, all the misdirection that they use on offense. I mean, the defense is going to be sorely tested. And then on offense with that offensive line, Bosa is going to be coming hard. And he's one of the best guys in this league. So, yeah, they have their hands full. And they better be ready because Jimmy Garoppolo, if he does well, you may even see a little bit of Trey Lance this week. So who knows what's going on with this? Can they do it? Yes. Will they do it?
Probably not. Not this week.
Yeah, that's about where I had them too. I think on my high end prediction was about 5 wins, and that's including a couple of those games that maybe they could sneak out a win against a team that you wouldn't really expect them to be competitive against, like a 49ers, like a team in the NFC North, like the Minnesota Vikings. That includes potentially splitting games throughout the season in their matchups against teams like the Chicago Bears that are in similar situations. They're not very good teams, but they're certainly in a better spot in some ways than others than the Detroit Lions at this moment in time. Let's talk about the team's mindset coming back in, because both of you guys are heavily involved with the Lions and with these guys, Matt, with you hosting the Locked On Lions podcast, and Woody with you being there in training camp and communicating with the team, and the rest of the Fox 2 sports team communicating with the team throughout the regular season. There's a couple of interesting aspects coming back this year. There's the new staff with a lot of people with NFL pedigree, guys who have been there and done that at various different levels of success. But on top of that, they're coming back into a roaring environment with 60,000 plus fans in Ford Field on each given week, and also with fans in stadiums across the league as they go on the road. How excited are the players to just get back out there in that kind of environment? Obviously, they're going back in and they're playing football. That's what they love to do. But it's a different environment when you're playing with nobody there versus coming back to what's really a jarring juxtaposition from nobody a year ago to now full fans in all the stadiums.
Oh, I think I'll start off this time, Wood. I think that it was very difficult for the players last year because there was nobody in the stands. It was weird. And then you had some stadiums where there were fans allowed and there were pockets of fans, but Ford Field, because it was indoors and obviously we had some issues here in Michigan with COVID, and does COVID even exist in the South? I don't know. But, it was tough. And throw in the fact that you had a third-year head coach that was losing the team. The team wasn't very good. It was rough on the guys, and they feed off of that energy of the fans. And, I love what Dan Campbell said the other day about we expect a raucous and rowdy group, a rowdy crowd. So, yeah, I think there will be a little bit of a home field advantage on Sunday. But as Woody pointed out, this is a good football team that's coming into town that is healthy again. San Francisco 2 years ago was a force. Last year they lost so many guys; it was almost a throwaway year. So yes, the crowd will help Tyler, and the players are excited about it. But then you got to go out and play, and the Lions just don't have the talent that San Francisco has. And if Taylor Decker's hurt, that could be an even longer day.
Yeah, I think I will agree with you there, Matt. With the fans being at Ford Field again, the players, they got a big taste of that during the preseason when the fans were out there. And I remember Anthony Pittman, who made the team, the linebacker from Wayne State, saying that he was very impressed with the fans and the whole NFL atmosphere, him being a rookie and that kind of, or first year guy, and all that kind of thing. So I think that some of that has, already permeated into the players, where it won't be such a wide-eyed, wow, look at all this. I mean, yeah, it'll be loud. Yeah, there'll be, it'll be a tough building to play in and to hear for the Niners, I hope. But we'll see how it goes when they just kick it off. I mean, I think that's what everybody is just ready to do right now. After a week of, inaction after the preseason, everybody's ready to go.
Yeah, it was a weird preseason, too, because of it being 3 games, because you're having teams taking a different strategy where instead of those first couple games, you're seeing more sustained, you're seeing more of that turnover between first string, second string, and third string. And as you get closer to that fourth game, you're seeing more of your starters. This year, it was a different approach because you're having that 17-game season. Guys are going to get a lot more reps in game action that matters. And like you said, Matt, depth is going to be a problem for the Detroit Lions. And Woody, you mentioned that too. And I think the biggest glaring issue there that you think about is the offensive line and the quarterback position, because it takes one big hit from a guy like Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa to take down a guy like Jared Goff, and all of a sudden you're left with one backup quarterback who's your third string quarterback at this point, presumably in David Blau, and that's a huge problem if you're the Detroit Lions, even in a season where you're not really expecting the best.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, injuries do happen, and, we'll take those as they come. But, looking at some stats going into this game, I mean, Jared Goff has lost his last 4, I believe, games against the 49ers, and he's only, 3-5 in his career. So, there is a little bit of familiarity with Jared Goff in that. But, again, it's maybe a negative familiarity because he's been losing those games. Now, with less of a talent level on the Lions than he had with the Rams, I mean, I hope that people aren't expecting him to, come out and put the team on his back and carry the whole thing, because I don't think he's that kind of quarterback. He's going to need help, which is why there has to be balance on this team heading into Sunday. The run game has to show up. It has to show up. It doesn't matter who's running, and I don't need, runs of 20, 25 yards. I just need a consistent 6, a consistent 8, that kind of thing to move the chains and stay ahead of the sticks, because as offensive coordinator Anthony Lynn said this week at Allen Park, that's something that will doom them if they start to get behind the sticks this week, Matt, and I'm sure you agree with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, this team hasn't been able to run the football since Barry Sanders retired. And it's incredible when you look at some of the numbers and Woody was mentioning stats. The fact that, they had won 1,000-yard rusher since Barry, a couple of 100-yard rushers, a Reggie Bush, Kerryon Johnson, that game in Miami a couple of years ago. It's pathetic. Now the offensive line is the best it's been in years. Left to right who you got. And you've got a Pro Bowl center. So that's a positive. Depth, you're right. We're going to have to wait and see. Not the greatest, not the deepest at the moment, but especially against San Francisco. Remember, Chris Kosirik, the Niners D-line coach, was here. He wanted to stay. Patricia and Quinn told him, go talk to some other teams, and then he took a job with the Dolphins. You don't think he's not, and Chris is crazy, you don't think he's not going to want to come back and have Armstead and Bosa pinning back their heels and getting sack after sack? So if those guys are coming so hard after Goff, that's where, like what he said, Swift, Jamal Williams, Jamar Jefferson come in, ball control, you keep the Niners off the field, and let's see if they can run the football. It's not to the point where they're going to run it every play and turn this into, Bo versus Woody football, but no, they've got to establish the run, and it's something they've talked about for years, but Dan Campbell did it when he was an interim coach of the Dolphins years ago, and I think he'll try to do it now. Plus, you don't have the threat of the deep ball anymore. Stafford's gone. Goff doesn't throw the ball down the field. He just doesn't. And this receiving core is brutal. So it's going to take some time for them to kind of get situated and acclimated.
I was wondering about that, Matt, about, not being able to, blow off the top of the defense like that. But I have to believe that they're going to be using those backs in the passing game as well. I mean, I can see the swing pass out of the backfield to a Swift or a Jamal Jefferson. I'm sorry, Jamal Williams and Jamar Jefferson. So, there will be some movement in the passing game. Will we see what we're used to with a deep ball like Kenny Golladay or a deep pass to Marvin Jones? No, those days are done. I mean, now it is, maybe a deep pass to, Liberty Benson or Kaderil Hodge helping out on special teams. Those are the last 2 guys to come in. So, it's going to be a lot different what you see with these Lions. Now, can it work? Yes. But will it be different? Yes. So just be ready.
Yeah, it's going to be a different Lions team this year. It's going to be a little ugly getting into this, but I think the biggest positive coming into this season for Lions fans, and I think that's already been a big discussion and it's going to continue to be, is that we're seeing the leadership change taking its toll and definitely starting to have an impact. And people are it seems like the players are buying in, and it seems like the fan base is ready to buy in as well. We'll see over time how that works out. Just another couple minutes with you guys. So I want to talk about our guy, Matthew Stafford, now in LA with the Rams. There's been a number of different predictions with that team, a team that in recent years has had some success, definitely had a lot of struggle last year and was looking to take that next step, and particularly at the quarterback position, which is why they pursued Stafford. And there's been a lot of different predictions for that team as well, with I believe it was Peter King even having the Rams be a Super Bowl contender and Stafford his pick for the MVP.
Yeah.
Where do you think that the Rams are going to be this year, and how Stafford going to play? Because the Rams don't exactly have an easy schedule there. They're playing Seattle twice. They're going up against Tampa Bay early on in the season. This is a team that, sure, they're coming back a little much more healthy than they have been in the past, but they have a really tough go of it, like other teams in the division.
Tyler, I don't know if you heard this or Woody either, but the Rams aren't playing a regular season game. They're just going from 17-0 right to the Super Bowl. That's what the national media is saying. Dan Orlovsky and Peter King, by the way, will be doing the coin toss at the Super Bowl so that he can hug Stafford before he starts playing. This is ridiculous, okay? Matthew Stafford's a good quarterback, but my gosh, the national media. Chris Collinsworth, did you hear him last night? I was watching some tape on Matthew Stafford. He's so much better than I thought he was.
I did hear that. And you know what? I was like, come on, dude. You know what Matthew Stafford is all about. And you know what? The truthful part of that statement from Chris Collinsworth last night, Matt, was he hadn't watched a lot of Lions games. And
he called the Seahawks-Lions playoff game with Al Michaels 5 years ago.
Yeah, but that's in one ear and out the other. Remember, the Lions are not at the top echelon of teams, so nobody even does any research into that. I mean, I was like, come on, Chris, you got to be kidding me. Now, Tyler, you talked about Matthew Stafford. Okay, fine. Yes, he used to be here for a long time. We know him well. But you know what? Bye-bye, Matthew. I mean, I'm done with that. I don't even look at that. I'm looking for the Rams to fall flat on their face this year so that the Lions can get the best possible draft pick out of that deal. That's all I care about the Rams. That's it. Now, will the Rams be better? Maybe. Will Stafford be, the guy to lead them to playoff supremacy? Maybe. But is Sean McVay maybe a bit overrated? Possibly.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of that going on. So before you put all your eggs in that basket and start to go, oh, look how glossy things are out there. Wait a minute. Step back a minute and think about exactly what's going on out there.
I'm with you, Woody. I think, excuse me, I think the Rams are going to be good, but that division's tough.
Right.
And this notion that he never played in a big game and he was in prison here in Detroit, that's BS. Come on, he had a hand in some of the losses. Don't wipe your hands clean.
That is very true. And you know what? He also did not finish any of the last couple of years with a full schedule. He was hurt for a couple of games in there. So, who knows what happens if all of a sudden out in LA with the Rams, now you don't have Matthew Stafford. No, these things are possible and they can happen. Right now, it looks rosy for everybody because there's been no games except for the Cowboys. They're 0-1. But everybody else is like thinking they can be world beaters. And you know what? Go ahead with it, including the Detroit Lions. But reality will set in come Sunday afternoon when a lot of these teams hit the field.
Yeah, it's a nice team. It's a better situation for Matt Stafford at this time. But like you said, Woody, the worse the Rams do, the better off the Lions are going to be. And they have the leadership to maybe make the right decisions with 2 high potential picks in this upcoming draft. So just another minute with you guys because we're a little bit over time here. So before I let you guys go, I want to get your predictions for this year. What teams do you like as Super Bowl contenders in this 2021 season?
I got to go with Kansas City again. I don't see anybody coming out to take them down. And I also like what Tampa's doing because last night I saw Tom Brady look like, he didn't miss a beat. So I'd have to go that way with it. I don't see anybody else stepping up yet. But again, it's very early.
I like Buffalo a lot. I think their defense is good. I really like the identity. I think Josh Allen takes a step forward. I worry about Kansas City a little bit with their offensive line. But I think the Chiefs will be good, like Woody said. NFC, again, Tom Brady last night, you gave him too much time. He goes right down the field. Something about Tampa Bay, but I do like San Francisco. I think we're going to see them Sunday, how good they can be. The NFC's loaded. There's a lot of good teams there. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers is on a mission. And he and Devontae Adams might be tough to stop, too. So, and the Smith boys on defense, I like Green Bay, too.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting season for the Lions and all across the NFL. And when we're talking about the NFL, you're going to hear a lot of that talk and analysis coming from Matt Dery of the Locked On Lions podcast and Woody Woodriffe with Fox 2 Detroit. Guys, thanks for being with us.
Not a
Thanks,
problem,
Tyler.
Thanks.